You had the Ku Klux Klan. Even they would cover themselves with hoods. Now you have racial terrorists that live stream themselves killing us. There's no shame. We can't afford to sit back and wait on some precinct captain or some weak member of the established Democratic Party to speak up when we're getting live stream lynched.
Even the Ku Klux Klan wore hoods. Think about that, underscoring the urgency of the current danger in America. An analysis from the Anti-Defamation League over the past decade found that more than half of the murders connected to political extremism were tied to white supremacists. With us tonight to discuss, Jonathan Greenblatt, CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League. His new book is titled, It Could Happen Here, Why America is Tipping from Hate to the Unthinkable and How We Can Stop It. Jonathan, every single time you're here, it's after horrible news.
Yeah.
Help us understand how the threat of violence is tied to white supremacy, how and more specifically why it's growing over time.
Well, we have certainly seen unmistakably the kind of rise in domestic extremism tied to white supremacy in ways we've just never seen before.
Why?
Well, I think there are multiple reasons. I think first and foremost, we have seen the normalization of hate when political figures and pundits have literally laundered these lies and moved them from the margins right into the mainstream, Stephanie. You know, you can go back to President Trump. He was a big progenitor of this. We can look at people like Laura Ingraham or Tucker Carlson or others who every single day on their radio shows and on places like Fox News and outlets like Facebook continue to push prejudice because it drives their ratings, right? I think, secondly, we've watched other extremists embed themselves in the political process. We have QAnon enthusiasts and radical anti-Zionists running for office today, spreading stereotypes and scapegoating as their main political argument.
Baratunde Thurston from Puck News shared some of these similar sentiments earlier today. Watch this.
We need other people talking to these young white men. We need Tucker Carlson offline, but we also need other voices online. We raised people over generations to not know the true history. We denied them access to the emotional tools and skills to be in touch with anything other than a violent response to fear and confusion and a sense of loss. We got to do better.
We got to do better. What does that look like? Because let's be honest, Tucker Carlson, he's not going offline.
Right.
So who are these voices we need to raise up?
Well, Baratunde is a friend, and he's totally right on the money here. We need to offer the kind of off-ramps to young people so they don't get radicalized. They don't find themselves down rabbit holes. But, you know, there's no silver bullet, right? There's no magic wand we can wave. We need a whole of society strategy. So one of the things, again, I think that Baratunde is talking about is how do we elevate these alternative voices?
And
we have these people. We have people like Christian Piccolini, like Damian Patton, like former white supremacists who've kind of come in from the cold and I think could share their stories, but we need to give them platforms to do that.
How? What does that look like? What can the White House do right now? We're not going to see gun law. Like, let's be honest.
Right.
We're not seeing gun laws change tomorrow,
Right.
the next day, or next month.
Right.
So you run the ADL. What
Yep.
do you want to see done tomorrow?
Well, we want to, the ADL has gotten together with the Urban League, the National Action Network, LULAC, Asian Americans Advancing Justice, to call for a White House summit on hate crimes. It's going to, well, and I know you might say, well, what good will that do?
Yeah, I mean, like, no offense.
No.
I get it. But none of those groups speak to young white supremacists.
Right. Well, look,
Right? You need to speak to them.
we do. So one of the things I think we need to do is, again, bring together faith leaders, bring together the kind of businesses they engage in, the kind of role models that matter to them, the icons from pop culture to whom they look to for guidance and whom they try to emulate as role models. That matters. There are voices that they do listen to, but there's something else. You know, we talk a lot, and we've talked before on this show or on your other show in the morning about the role of social media. And I heard what Barbara was saying about Section 230. We need that. That's going to take forever. You know, there's something that could happen tomorrow.
Tell me.
Google and Apple control the app stores, all right? So there are platforms that these individuals use, like Getter or Rumble or Odyssey or Weeme. And I know you don't know these services, but the white supremacists do, the right-wing extremists do. Apple and Google could cut off access tomorrow because these platforms don't have moderation, they don't have terms of service, and they violate the ethics of these companies. It is not censorship for Barnes & Noble to say, I don't want to stock Mein Kampf. And it is not censorship for Tim Cook to say, I don't want to have Getter in the Apple Store.
Tim Cook, I hope you're watching. I know we're out of time, but I have to ask, guns. Hatred is on the rise around the world, but the problem that is unique in the United States, as opposed to other countries, access to big guns. How much is that a factor here?
There's a through line from Pittsburgh to El Paso to Buffalo. And the access to semi-automatic weapons, the access to body armor.
I want you to know you are like the 9th person in the last week to do that. It's not you. We need new mugs.
Maybe that's the case. But look, like, if we can get our hands around these guns, we could mitigate the damage dramatically.
I am so grateful you joined us tonight. I'm grateful for the work that you do. Always good to see you.